Hey folks, it's time for yet another custom lesson. This one has been requested by Andrew Russo, who I know as Roosdeuce on Twitch. So if you didn't know, I do stream on Twitch, so please do check me out on there. In any case, on with the lesson. Weapons are fists, claws, and Switchglaive. Guardian spirits will be Genbu, which should have ancient Nyotengu. The secondary guardian spirit will be Itokuri with owl, and then I can fill in whatever other soul cores I'd like. Enemies will be, as suggested by the thumbnail, Ren Hayabusa and Ancient Nyotengu, so this is going to be quite demanding. Let's get on to the weapons. You can see my standard clawed fists. I like Corruption and Life Drain Active Skill. That's it. That's all I cared for. The melee key damage is nice, but again, I wasn't specifically fishing for it. Demon Horde Switchglaive, Anima bonus on grapple is awesome. I like Corrupted Weapons. And Life Drain Active Skill. Everything else is extra. Let's get to the Guardian Spirits this time. This is where things are going to get nutty. So we have Genbu, and the first soul core that I'm working with is Ancient Nyotengu, as you can see. I did not bother ranking this up whatsoever because Anima bonus ranged hit is already on the Phantom, so there was no need for me to do so. If you want to use Tengu fans, or Tengu's fans, I don't know. Tengu only fans, does it matter? I don't know. Then go for boosting this up. The Tengu's fans are pretty good from what I've seen. Underworld Soldier makes a return, so I wanted a gap closer. Since Ancient Nyotengu is good for targets that are somewhat far away, Underworld Soldier kind of works a little differently, in which it's a great gap closer, and so it can be a lot of fun. All I cared for was Yokai ability Key Pulse. I would definitely recommend boosting this up to rank 30. That is pretty important. It gives you even more anima to work with, and what's not to love about having more anima to work with? Last but not least, I do use Ippon, and even though Ippon is definitely not an underappreciated core, I felt it was warranted given the other soul cores you'll see. So Ippon against Ren Hayabusa and Ancient Nyotengu aren't nearly as valuable as you might think, so I actually didn't use it all that much in the upcoming showcase. It helps, but at 7 anima, it's pretty hard to pull off against those two enemies because they are relentless. So, and you'll see how that goes into play. So I use Ippon as kind of as my safe core to work with against very challenging enemies. And the only thing I cared for was the Yokai ability Key Pulse, which I already had, so I just found a Phantom one. It happens to have the Anima bonus grapple, which is cool, but not really necessary since I have Underworld Soldier anyway. Let's get on to Itokuri. Where are you at? You're right here. So Itokuri, you can see the soul cores I've chosen. So first one that was specifically requested was the Owl soul core, which has amazing synergy with Itokuri. And once I discovered this, I was very surprised. So you can potentially not only do a ton of max key damage, but paralyze your targets, which is awesome. And next, I decided to go with Flying Bolt. So the reason why I picked this has nothing to do with the paralysis accumulation, and more to do with I need something to slow some targets down. And with Ren and with Nyotengu, they move a lot, and that makes their fights even more challenging. So I figured, let's try Flying Bolt. But this one, feel free to substitute it with whatever you feel would be helpful, whether that be something like a Gaki or something, I don't know. But I wanted something to slow the targets down, so Flying Bolt, being at ranged, seemed pretty helpful. And all I cared for was the Yokai ability Key Pulse. I would recommend boosting this one up as high as you can, because getting more anima back is great, and reducing movement and having a greater chance to do so is very helpful. So strongly advise boosting this soul core up as much as you can. Last but not least, I went with Kiryoki. Kiryoki is great on Itokuri for that paralysis accumulation. I don't really think you need to boost these special effects. I was just testing out the limits of this, which is quite good. But yeah, overall, though, we don't really have super cheap cores. Flying Bolt is the cheapest at 4 anima, but it's a fairly long animation, so you gotta play this setup smart. But that's where the weapons really come into play. Let me now get my controller up and show what's possible with Yokai Shift, because Yokai Shift is actually quite a feat to mess around with this time around. So, mess around with this time around? Yeah, that makes sense. Anyway, so strategy is this, Ippon spam. I'm kidding. Alright, so Genbu is a lot of fun. can knock targets up, and with Nyotengu you can do a lot of damage. And so the Phantom form is remarkably powerful. And it can feel really good to work with. Wait, where'd my Ippon go? There it is. So definitely a lot of fun to mess with, say, Genbu, Nyotengu, hit the target as they're being knocked up, and then, you know, you can teleport in. So you can do a bunch of attacks. Pretty cool. Teleport in, do a bunch of Ippon, attack, attack, attack. So yeah, definitely a lot of fun. Itokuri is a little different. So, slow your target down, kind of stacks. Oh, didn't really get to see it. I wouldn't actually open with Flying Bolt, come to think of it. I would say open with this. Slow the target down and inflict a lot of max key damage, and as you can see, paralyze them. But yeah, it can be pretty devastating. More of a specialist sort of thing here. I would say Itokuri kind of performs in a more specialist niche category. Really? He dodged it. What a jerk. Enjoy. Alright, let's see if I can come up with anything else. Yeah, I like to charge into Kiryoki. Try it one more time. I like to open like this. Chance to paralyze. What? Bro, get out of here. That was... Okay, dude. Kiryoki is something you can just spam a lot, so that'll be a lot of fun. Dude, that was wild. Now, of course, we don't have the brute counters, so we can't like go unga bunga and do crazy attacks with it, but I'll show you some other things that you may not have otherwise thought to use. So I know the ability Iron Grip always gets disparaged, but we have slow cores that can actually synergize with it pretty handily. Come on. They dodge back? Nyotengu, thank you. Wait, what? What are you doing? If they don't dodge away, you can always use an Ippon. Oh, here's a fun thing to do. Assuming I can pull it off. Not bad, huh? You have tools to mess with involving Iron Grip, and I think turning an ability that may otherwise be considered useless into something that could be a good combo chain can be kind of nice. Don't forget, you always have things like Flying Bolt, which can assist you irrespective of the choice the enemy makes. Dude, how are you dodging all this? But yeah, turning an ability into something that's otherwise kind of neat is definitely a good thing. I don't even know what I'm saying. Doesn't matter. Iron Grip is not as useless, is basically all I'm trying to say. So yeah, definitely kind of cool. So let me show that again with Iron Grip, show you what's possible with it, irrespective of what the enemy decides to do. Not too shabby. Kinda neat, huh? So even if he backs away... There's Owl for you. What's funny with Owl is against blocking enemies, it won't really matter. It'll still paralyze them, assuming they don't resist it. See here, watch. It's so dirty, dude. But one nice thing overall with this setup is that you have a lot of distance-based play. So Nyotengu, Underworld Soldier, Owl, like all these cores are pretty much all at range, which is really freaking important, especially against high threat enemies. And so I picked Ippon to kind of work kind of antithetical to that, in which I want at least one close range option. So yeah, a lot of cool things you can try to do. See what I can show you in action. Come on. I like using Nyotengu a lot, particularly against blocking opponents. So you'll definitely want to mess around with it. Let's show some more things you can do. Let's try, buddy. Kinda neat, huh? Woohoo! Alright, let's show a little bit more and then we'll call it quits here. Let's see what cool combos I can think of. Alright, let's try stuff with Orca Chaos. Because I know a lot of people, myself included, like to spam Orca Chaos. But let's make it so they can't get any closer to me. Oh, I thought he was gonna die. I should have spammed Orca Chaos, shouldn't I? It's okay, he'll get it again. But yeah, just incorporating one move. Look at that. All of a sudden, just with the Soul Core, it really just changes how you can approach things. Yeah, that's pretty savage. Really? Oh, you're dead. Show some other things, I guess. Of course, everybody likes Beyond Infinity. And I guess one more go around and then I'll call it quits. Dude, why did you dodge my Ippon? You don't dodge it that time, dude. Get paralyzed, foo. And time to die. Very nice. So yeah, just something like that. Against Ren and Ancient Nyotengu, a lot of this stuff won't work as well because they're pretty crazy bosses. But I'll show you, even without all these tools at your disposal, you'll be alright. So, thanks for watching for now, and I will see you guys soon enough. Well, alright, it's time to put this to the test, and probably one of the most difficult scrolls you're ever going to deal with. And Ren Hayabusa is certainly no joke, even without the curse upon him. So I'm actually trying to be very careful with my approach, but it's pretty difficult. And my objective, aside from just trying to be careful, is not get his own dropped and keep him on as low key as possible. Fortunately, fists and claws and even Tompa, which I'm not using, but those weapons are really good at doing zero key combos given how fast they are. But here's something kind of neat. You can opportunist his Exorcist Blade. But yeah, my objective is to do non-stop pressure, and I whiffed that burst attack and that really hurt. but still I'm able to survive, and so as a result I'm able to keep the pressure going. Half his health is down, but that doesn't mean the fight's any easier. He is remarkably fast, and if you even give him a second to breathe, he will murder you. So here's Opportunist. Imperfect one nonetheless, but I'm keeping his ki low with things like Corruption. And then, ooh, I knocked him out of the air. I got a little lucky there. And then, yeah, I'm not even bothering to use Switchglaive right now because I just don't want to take any risks because, yeah, Ren is pretty crazy. Battering Ram, he's gone. And Ren isn't the hardest part. It's a purple ancient Nyotengu. This is what's going to take the remaining time, and as you can see, I've got several minutes to fight with her. So, you know, I just want to make sure I've got things taken care of safely. And I find, personally speaking, that purple Nyotengu is a little too tanky compared to like any other opponent. She also does a whopping amount of damage with that grab burst counter, and she has the usual propensity to just like deplete all of your ki if you block and she hits you. So it's really troublesome. So I'm actually playing it overall very safe for how I normally am, where I just go Unga Bunga no matter what. So I'm trying to deplete as much of her ki as possible and get into a rhythm, which is very critical when it comes to Nyotengu. A lot of her attacks are crazy, but once you can kind of figure out the sweet spots about where to be, how to avoid them and whatnot, then you're in pretty good shape. But it's easier said than done. You can kind of see how some of these soul cores aren't necessarily going to be as impactful compared to other enemies, but that's just the nature with Nyotengu and why many players have difficulty dealing with her. So I tried slowing her down with flying bolts moments ago. It's been gone, and I just need to pay attention more or less, not so much the status ailments, but more so to her burst attacks, because they are devastating. So here's something kind of funny: throw out Genbu, and then it just knocks her up, which can be a great break to take advantage of. But she's already depleted my Yokai Shift gauge, so I really got to understand how to work with this fight. And I really feel that once you get comfortable with the burst attacks, it gets a lot easier to manage. But for the most part, I'm playing it very safe. I'm keeping a lot of distance and really just being on the lookout for that grab burst attack, because that's probably what will end most players' runs anyway. Aside from her usual doing a ton of ki damage stuff, you just gotta be careful for that burst attack. So I'm actually very, very wary of that. So I will use Arc of Chaos a lot. I'll use whatever I can to take advantage of my distance, and just really, I can't overemphasize this. Play it safe. Go for safe openings. Once her burst counters are at bay, then it's a lot easier to work with. But see, like, I get barely any time to punish her, so I gotta be careful. I'm always on the lookout for that burst counter. Sorry, that burst attack. And then going for the risky plays when I feel I have enough time to do so, which is usually when she's low or out of ki. Fortunately, if you didn't know, if you deplete her max ki just at all with a burst attack, then you don't have to worry about depleting it any further, because you can get a Shiftling grapple right afterwards, which can be really sweet. But one thing I realized over the course of this fight is that I can use Owl much more liberally than I may have thought. So here I go for a punish. I was a little hesitant, so I wasn't able to get the grapple, but then here, I think I use Owl now, right? So she's at half max ki, and look at that. Most of that ki is gone, which makes the fight so much easier. So here's a burst attack. Ooh, very close to depleting her ki, so I'm just going a little riskier, and as a result, I can go into Feral form, which is great. So you can see how developing a rhythm and keeping that momentum in your favor can be instrumental. One thing that's annoying with Nyotengu is I think you like lose stacks of, say, like Death Dancer and whatnot, if that like AoE tornado effect, burst attack or whatever she does, starts sucking you in, which kind of feels weird. Here I was hoping to use Owl, but I didn't, so I used Arc of Chaos because I'm not comfortable with that wave water attack just yet. Hopefully I'll learn how to deal with it over time. And here's what I was talking about, where if you just deplete her max ki at all, not even fully, with a burst counter, then you're in good shape. Going for Beyond Infinity, realize is probably not the smartest idea. Here, just get as close as you can to her. It's one of the few moments you can safely punish her. She's locked into an animation in which she can't do much. But as you can see, I'm worried about that burst attack. It is scary, and you may think you're countering it, but no, you couldn't be more wrong. So I was very, very cautious about that. But look how little damage I'm doing, because in my opinion, she's overtuned unless I'm just missing something. Because I haven't really ever taken this much time on any boss. Even like Yoshitsune, he takes a while, but Ancient Nyotengu just like takes forever. So it's really a test of endurance. And as you can see, I'm like, wait for that, and then I can go all out, and well, in increments, that is. One thing that can help you is if you are behind her, she does one of the most telegraphed counterattacks where she tries to kick and she has an audible sound. So you can kind of know it's coming. And that's like maybe like one of the easier things to work with, aside from that burst attack. But yeah, this is still a very challenging fight. And it doesn't really get any easier. And I'm like, crap, I'm so low. She's so low on health, and I know if she gets one crazy attack off, I'll be dead. So I'm really playing the distance game, going for quick hits, and generally using my soul cores when I can. I'm trying to minimize the risk because of attacks like that. When I know I'm going to break her ki, then I'll go in as much as I can. But yeah, even when she's out of ki, she can still interrupt you with a quick attack, so she's not to be trifled with. I wish I had Owl Soul Core there, but I use Arc of Chaos instead. There's that volleyball sort of attack. I got hit, which feels bad, so using the burst attack measures to my advantage to get some health back, and then let's finish this up, because man, this has been a stressful fight to say the least. Alright, Genbu, Nyotengu, use good old jutsu, do a bunch of attacks, and then finish her for good. Alright, whew, what a relief. In any case, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you guys next time.